So, couples therapy. As you can tell with the title, I was going through a breakup. I was in the middle of a breakup of a really long relationship. And the first song I wrote was Better Man. And honestly, Better Man was supposed to be like a standalone. Like, I didn't really know what was going to happen, you know? I met Terminology randomly at a party one night. And I had known him because I love that song Desert Eagle. And I was like, yo, we're gonna work together. Better Man was one of the first beats he sent me, and I wrote that song um, at the San Juan airport because I just recently broken up with my ex or whatever, and my cousin was like, yeah, no, we're gonna go to Puerto Rico. So we went to Puerto Rico, and I wrote that song there, and then we put it out, and they people liked it. And it was kind of like, so what's next? And I was like, oh shit, I gotta do it next, and then the next turned into an EP. So I wrote couples therapy by myself. That was all me. Term came up with the hook for How It Feels. You'll know the facts. You'd be like, no, I wrote that. He came up with the hook for How It Feels. But yeah, no, I wrote that EP by myself. Every song was about an experience that I've gone through. And it was about an experience pertaining to this particular relationship. Whatever. But yeah, no, it's all me because it was really a personal project. So I recorded most of my album in Massachusetts, in Lowell, Massachusetts, at Wonka Sound with the impeccable Sir Bob Nash. I love him. Hi, Bob. But he's the shit, and it's wild because again, this was like this was Term's first like foray into like R&B. He produced a couple of songs that obviously had R&B features, Erykah Badu and all that. But I was his first fully produced R&B project, which was really dope. I also did some of the recording with a couple people here. It was definitely a trial and error thing because I come from theater, so like there is no studio recording. You go to rehearsal, you sing your song, you do your show, you get off stage, like that's it. But the fact that you can go home and sleep on it and like revisit shit is always such a bugged out process to me. I wouldn't think too much for that shit. I apologize to every producer I've ever worked with. My bad. It's not gonna stop, but my bad. Better Man. So Better Man's the first, I believe it's the first track on the EP, and it's, again, my first single ever and off the EP. The first lines are like, it don't really matter the time, long as you're right by my side, I'll be just fine. So it's a love song in the fact that like, you have this person that you want to be with, right? And that person that's it. That's your penultimate, right, or whatever. And they're not the best, and it's like you want to do everything you can to make them a better man. Yeah, me, it was real optimistic in 2018, but it's listening to it now. It's real heartbreaking and kind of like it leaves me a little like choked up because it's like don't want to leave this person, and your friends are like telling you she'll leave if she could, like you can't, and I feel like that's a sentiment a lot of people can relate to. Because I feel like you always hear about, like love stories where people either break up or they end up back together, but there's never that middle part where like, yo, it's not that easy to just break up with somebody. Like, it's not that easy to cut somebody out of your life, especially if they've been there for a while. So, yeah, Better Man was about that. Like, no matter what you do, I'll always ride for you, even when you let me down. Like, damn, girl, you gotta do that. Like, love shouldn't have to be that hard, man. Cant Sleep was written about a handful of suitors that I had. The hook is, can't sleep, so I'm gonna write this song about someone I met since you did me wrong. I try to be tame, the henny's to blame. Don't worry, I don't say no names. I just made that into a fucking lullaby nursery rhyme. This is one of the songs I actually remember writing. It was kind of lit in my room, and I was salty because I came from a date, and it was trash. God, it was trash. So I go through a couple of people that I met. Well, I'm trying to think of like a good line from it. It's so bad because like I really didn't want to I never want to air people completely out, but like I feel like that goes hand in hand with dating a songwriter. Like, son, I'm gonna write about you, especially if you do some dumb shit. Like you'll be on dates with like these dudes, and you'll be like, son, what the fuck am I doing? Like, what am I doing here? Like, nah, this ain't it, chief. But why am I allowing you to keep my fucking company? Like, the fuck? Like, I deserve better than that. I think a lot of this song was me realizing that, like, yo, sometimes it's better off to just be dolo and alone than be on a whack ass date. How it feels. I love that song. Oh, I love it so much. I wanna know how it feels. How it feels. I wanna know how it feels, baby. How it feels. I just repeat how it feels. How it feels is dope. One, I just really love the melody. The hook is fire. I love the hook. And just it has a nice swing to it. The beat is fire. It was one of my favorite beats when Term sent to me instantly. I was like, yo, if you send this to anybody else, I'm gonna fight because I love this song. I remember writing this song really vividly. I was just like, how did I get to this point? My life changed a lot when, this relationship ended, as things do, especially when you like share a home and share a life with a person. It's hard to split that up and then be like, what the fuck do I do? I used to come home at such and such a time and I would see you and I'd cook dinner and we'd do family functions and shit, and then you're dolo, especially when you've never been by yourself. It's just like, oh, wow, what does one do with themselves? Like, leaves you a lot of time to think and reflect. And I'm just like, yo, I spent so much time trying to fix something that didn't work. When I say I spent the best years of my life trying to fix a love that can't go right, and that was it. And it's just like, it was tough. And it's like, what do you do after that? Once you realize you've spent all that time, what do you do, right? And so it's like, you want to know how it feels to have this story of love. Like, I'm a cornball, like the corniest person in the world. I believe in all this fairy tale love shit. It's ridiculous. Love at first sight exists. I believe it. But because I'm such a romantic, and I love love. I love the idea of love. I love the idea of partnership. I love the idea of having your person. You know what I mean? Like, that shit is so dope and it's so beautiful. I love when people fall in love. It's all about, like, you want to know. I want to know how it feels. You want to know how it feels to, like, feel that kind of love. Like, and you deserve that. I feel like a lot of times in a breakup you forget what you deserve. You know what I mean? Kind of fine is like about seeing a dude and you're like, oh shit, like, kind of fun, and and pulling up on him, because you always hear, like, of course, guys back and chicks, but like, yo, we be shooting our shots too, and it works 99.999% of the time. It was definitely a lot lighter of a track, because it's like, all right, you were in this relationship, you're out of it, and now you're ready to date. Like, you can finally, like, see yourself with another person. I feel like that's really moves at the root of it. Like, I guess at that time I was like, wow, okay, maybe I can date. Maybe I can see myself with someone else. And that's a really dope time when you're in a breakup and you could actually finally see someone. Because I feel like for so long, you're just like, no, men are terrible. I hope they all fall downstairs. Nah, I don't want none of that from none of y'all. And then you, like, one day, and I don't know what happens, but one day you're like, damn, yo, they outside. I want to be outside. Let's go outside. You call your friends, like, let's go outside. They're like, oh, she's back. That was a fun track. I like that one. Bad timing is about kind of comparing, like, obviously, like the title says, bad timing. Like, you meet a person and you think, like, oh shit, like, this might be a thing, but like the timing is all wrong, and it's like, it doesn't work, and he's got someone else, because there's always someone else. This one for me was a little hard to write. Not hard like in difficulty, but hard like emotionally to write, because it was real personal. My own issues and shit kind of came up in bad timing. A lot of it was a comparison, like, why not me? Like, our timing is fucked up, and why not me? Like, I know I got baggage, pockets of bad habits and shit. And she's sweet, safe and sweet, not like me. And that's definitely something I struggle with, like, just my personality and who I am, like, being too much. Like, am I too much? Do I take up too much space? And at that time, I was super self-conscious of everything I did and how I presented myself and how people perceive me, because this relationship didn't work out. It really made me question, like, is it something that I'm doing? Do I need to change myself? Maybe I'm too boisterous, I'm too loud, too friendly, too this or whatever, so I need to shrink myself. Maybe I'm too much, right? I would never say that now. Right? I feel like people, like, really try to downplay, like, breakups and shit. It's like, oh yeah, we broke up. Nah, that shit is low-key, high-key, wild, traumatizing. And it makes you question all of the things that you took for as fact. Like, I knew I was good and we were good and we were this, but like it kind of shakes your foundation and belief system. At least for me it did, you know. So I was like, yo, is it me? And like, I know she's probably gonna say she probably got her shit together and that's why you always sweat her, baby. And it's like, yo, like, yeah, she probably does have her shit together. I told God to pay the price if he would let me be advice. It's almost like, you know, because of the position that you're in, you can't, you know, necessarily be in a relationship or a situation that you want, right? And that person knows it, so they're in a situation with someone else, and you're like, yo, like, why not me? And it's because of the timing. It's Over is kind of just like, it's the last song on the EP, and it's very much like the title says. It's kind of just coming to the realization that, like, yeah, the situation that you're in is over, and also recognizing the role that you play in that. In a breakup, it's not completely one-sided. It's like, you know, realizing that life goes on without you. It's like in the beginning, I'm like, what do I say? It's lately you've been heavy on my mind, and all I see is you on my timeline. Like, that's, and of course, the reality of social media, but that feeling is so trash, dog. When you're like scrolling Mania's sweet, happy, like unbothered business, you see this big head fool on your fucking timeline. You're like, what? And like, it's like, it almost is like you're looking at the life that was supposed to be yours. And that line, you know, I have a line where it's like, I saw your new girl, she's pretty, but I wonder if you miss me. No, you miss me. Like, yeah, that's the worst, especially when a girl pretty. You're like, damn it. And of course he's not gonna date no ugly people. He dated me. But it's like, fuck. And like, you know, I just can't believe that it's over. And you're like, shit, yeah, it's over.
And I still have so much to say, and I'm wishing we had one more day. Hey. And I'm sorry it's all